Hey guys, welcome to today's video, a video that is going to be going over my dream setup, which is finally together and, well, I'm using it. It's been an absolute blast, and honestly, after 6 years of using less than optimal gear for any and all of my content creation, having what I have now is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Now, I want to talk about it because it's not just about the fact that I have this amazing PC that is doing everything I've ever wanted it to do and more. It's about the fact that I've had a complete journey of choosing what I'm going to use, what I'm going to upgrade, trying to find my way through content creation with less than optimal gear, with a bit of a budget. And I thought it was worthwhile sharing what I used to have, how I upgraded over the years to finally end up with what I have today. So if you're interested in hearing all of that, just watch the video as it is. But if you are only interested in seeing what I have now and getting information on what is basically a perfect, in my opinion, a brilliant PC, then skip to the timestamp down below. You'll be able to see it in, if you hover your mouse over the little the drag bar for the YouTube video, there should be a section labeled my dream PC setup or whatever I labeled it, something to do with that. So you'll be able to hear the specs and all the extra gear and things like that that I've set up. So that's basically how I'm going to lay out this video. I'm going to work through the years as what I used to have to finally end up with what we have here today. So my first setup. Picture this, Twitch streaming on a 2017 gaming laptop. I believe it was called the MSI Dominator Pro. It might have had a few numbers or letters in there. Had a GPU of a 1070, Nvidia 1070. Had a CPU of about an i5. Might have been pushing i7. I don't think it was. I think it was an i5. It might have been. Had about 16 gigs of RAM and about 1 terabyte of SSD storage. So it was a decent little machine. Did everything I needed it to do, and then I decided, let's have a go at Twitch streaming. Now, that isn't something that just any machine can do. If you get a little HP computer that was, a couple $100 from JB Hi-Fi or something, great machine for writing down Word documents, doing just university work, not great for trying to live stream, capture and live stream a video game, specifically high graphic reliant games like Dead by Daylight, and try and put them up onto YouTube or Twitch in any kind of quality. So let's talk about some of the extra pieces that take your laptop from just playing a video game to being able to stream it to a acceptable standard where the viewers will log into your stream and say, okay, I can watch this because it's not complete garbage, right? In my first setup with this MSI Dominator Pro, I had a headset. Not this one. It was an old Sennheiser. I will put it up on screen at the moment. It had an inbuilt microphone, which I used as the way to capture my voice, as I didn't have a microphone. I never bought a microphone. I never even thought about buying a microphone and learning how to use that type of equipment. To me, that was so far off. I was a gamer who was trying to show what I was doing in my games to the world. That was as far as I knew. So I used my headset microphone, pretty low quality. It peaked a lot. I used the inbuilt webcam on my laptop to capture me. So that pixelated fucking thing was capturing blocked up versions of my face. The keyboard I used was the inbuilt keyboard on my laptop. Nothing special. It would overheat a lot. It would reach like 95, 96 degrees Celsius. And my fingers would start burning because the WASD key was quite high up and it was towards where the GPU was. And that was overworking itself while I was live streaming. That's a whole nother issue. And possibly one of the most important pieces of equipment, which I had as a coincidence because I'd moved to Queensland and I'd gotten myself a second monitor, which allowed me to watch movies and TV shows on it. And that was important initially when I started on Twitch because I can put that Twitch chat easily, quite large, up on my screen. I can read it simply by going game. Oh, read chat, easy, game. It's simple, very important to have. And I also had my alerts up. So when someone would follow or subscribe, I was able to look, see the name, and then thank them, send that personal thanks to gratitude of what has just happened, whatever money or time they've spent on your channel. That acknowledgement is important for viewers feeling that they have that connection with you. And of course I had a basic mouse. I wasn't using the trackpad on my laptop. I did have a gaming mouse. It was a Logitech. It was white and it was a Logitech something or other. And that was very much the bare bones basics of what my initial setup was. This setup was great in terms of it was exactly what I already had, which made starting on Twitch both simple and affordable for me. And I actually have some footage of what my original setup looked and sounded like up on Twitch, so enjoy.
It's the dark milk chocolate. It's actually really good. Oh, it's people right here. People above us. That was dumb of me. How could he? Did he? Got him! Hey!
No one wins. Look at these lips.
Jesus Christ, they are. I actually don't like that you're looking at me like that. I need you to stop it.
Go into first person and look at me.
Oh my god! It's really nice. Look at this beautiful. Oh, what? Right.
Anyway, let's talk about how I improved that setup, because obviously that wasn't a setup that was going to last, and it certainly wasn't a setup that screamed professional stream, which you want to spend time with. It was an amateur stream, just doing what I could to show that I existed, and I built myself up from there. The very first thing I had to do was to learn to prioritize. I spent money on things that would make the viewing experience better, which was the priority as a Twitch streamer and creator, not a selfish gamer who just wants a great gaming experience for themselves. And I can't stress how important that is, especially starting out, to see that difference and consider yourself a creator and not a gamer. So I started out real strong on Twitch. I sharply grew and then flattened out. I had to identify what was causing people to either not come back or to leave. And one of the big ones was when I'd watch back my videos, I would hear how badly my microphone was sounding. So I prioritized into looking into what kind of microphone I should get. One of the best microphones at the time, and honestly, I think still one of the best rookie microphones to get into streaming with, is the Blue Yeti. Blue make beautiful microphones. The Blue Yeti is a USB plug and go. So I got a Blue Yeti. I originally just had it in front of me, but I found that I knocked it too much. So I invested in a, I think, $8 or $9 boom arm off of eBay, I think it was. And that was my audio setup for a long time. But it wasn't just the microphone I wanted to improve. I needed a better webcam because my inbuilt webcam was pixelated, problematic, and wasn't screaming professional. So I got the Logitech C920, shoots in 720p, which is honestly all you need as a beginner streamer. I then upgraded my mouse, and I eventually settled on getting the Razer Death Adder Elite, I think it's called. And I've been rebuying those for about 4 years now. I really enjoy using them. They feel fine for me. I'm using one as we speak. I then bought a Stream Deck, which was massive for improving just the smoothness of my scene transitions in OBS and left me feeling in full control of my stream. Finally, I had another webcam upgrade late 2018, if not early 2019 as well. I got the Logitech Brio, which is the webcam I'm still using to this day. It was like an extra $150 than the webcam I was already using, so it was a bit of an investment. Now, this is where I bought my next laptop. It was early 2020. The warranty on my MSI Dominator Pro was running out. My Dominator Pro was very much on its last legs at this point. I took it in and said, look, it's dying. Can I use the warranty? And they said, yep, you can use the same amount that this laptop of yours, the Dominator Pro, was worth, and use it to purchase something else and take that money off. So I got like $3,000 off my next purchase, which was about a $4,100 laptop. So it only cost about a $1,100 price. It was the MSI Leopard, something or other. It had some G's, I think it was, I'll put it up on the screen. You can see what it is. It was a good little machine, great little machine, actually. It was fantastic. I used that from 2020 all the way through until, well, a month ago in 2023. So it was a 3-year usage on this laptop. It had a 2070 Nvidia 2070 GPU in it, which I should note that both the 1070 and the 2070 were laptop versions of obviously the typical graphics cards. So they weren't as good as a 1070 you'd put in a PC. They were cut down and fit into a laptop. So they weren't as effective at doing that job. They were still good, but they weren't as good. This new laptop had an i7. I think it was towards the end of the i7 generation at that point. So it was like before i9 came out. It definitely wasn't i9. I know it was i7. And that helped a lot with speeding up obviously the CPU processor, which was awesome. And it had 16 gigabytes of RAM. Probably the biggest regret I had with purchasing this laptop was purchasing a laptop that didn't have more RAM potential, or I didn't ask to get that added in before I purchased it. I didn't understand what RAM was doing really. And the thing that capped me for so long was only having that 16 gigabytes of RAM. I streamed Dead by Daylight for a long time. I streamed Dread Hunger. Both of those games with OBS running took up like over 90% of my RAM, if not all the way to 100. That was very difficult because FPS would drop if I tried to run any more in the background, any extra programs. It also had a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive. Not a lot of space in terms of being a video creator. Definitely not a lot of space for that, but for live streaming, it was quite fine. This laptop did the job I needed it to for a long time. It was fantastic. 3 years, it grinded and it worked. It wasn't easy for this machine to do what I was asking it to do. Anytime I had a problem, I would invest time into Googling, YouTubing, working anything I could to fix that little problem so that things would run smoother. I spent so much time behind the scenes trying to just maintain what I was doing, much less upgrade it. I would try to upgrade it at times. Upgrades were sometimes just too much for my computer to run. I was living in Queensland, so I'd fallen in love with my girlfriend. There's a whole bunch of stuff with trying to balance spending time with your partner and trying to live stream. That's a whole nother video. If you're interested in hearing about that, do leave a comment about it. But the laptop was still a necessity because I was still traveling up and down to see my family and spend time with my partner and study up in Queensland. So that was definitely tough. But ultimately, I had to accept that my video quality would be low, especially when I got into YouTube, which was later on. I had to accept that the video quality would be low and I had to make up for it with enthusiasm and entertainment. And that's pretty much been my storyline since day dot. Now, my next purchase to boost the quality of my stream when I got this new laptop was, well, the first thing I did was literally just get a new headset. I got a wireless one. I also upgraded my microphone to a condenser setup. Basically, a condenser setup includes a mixer, which I will show on screen now. I plugged this microphone that you can see in front of me. This is the microphone I bought. It's the Blue Ember. It was recommended to me by a YouTuber by the name of Harris Heller, who at the time was going by Alpha Gaming. It was a big channel that was teaching people how to improve their live streams, and I was watching that, just soaking every bit of information in I could. The Blue Ember connects to my mixer via an XLR cable, and the mixer connects to my computer using a USB cable. Now, the mixer has a bunch of dials, as you can see, and a few buttons, and this allows me to manually control individual elements of the sound, and that's as easy a way I can put it. You move these dials around, it adjusts the highs, the lows, it gives compression, it increases the overall gain of the microphone. It just gives me a lot more control over my audio, and that is fantastic. I also downloaded virtual cables, which added extra cables, so to speak, in your computer that the audio was being recorded on. So I could put my music from Spotify or whatever I was listening to on one. I could put my microphone on another. I could put the game sounds on another. And then when I captured that video and I recorded it and I put it into Premiere, for example, Adobe Premiere, the program I use to edit, that would come up with 3 different audio tracks. So if I wanted to boost how much my microphone was sounding, boom, easy, does that. My microphone's too quiet, easy, I can make it a bit louder over the game sounds without raising the game sounds. I could completely remove the music from my videos, even if it was playing during the game, which was very important for uploading to YouTube, which I did later on in my career. And my virtual cables also allowed me to select what virtual cable line was being uploaded to my Twitch VOD. So I could play live music that's copyrighted on my live stream and it not go and be directly uploaded to Twitch and mark my Twitch channel as a copyright striked channel over and over again. So I could listen to the music I wanted to without getting copyright striked, and you guys could hear it, but it wasn't being saved to Twitch. Very important. And I will put a link to the video that helped me set all that up. Very, 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 very good. Absolutely highly recommend. A big issue I faced for a while there was my keyboard on my MSI Leopard laptop. The inbuilt keyboard, the keys started breaking off. The A and the S keys started falling off. I would reattach them and they would be okay, and then eventually they'd fall off, and they'd usually fall off in the middle of a game, and I would die because I wasn't able to move or anything like that. It was extremely frustrating. I had two options, well, three options really. I could, one, take the keyboard into any computer store, get them to fix the keys and move on. Problem with that is at that point I lose the warranty on my laptop, which, as you know, the previous laptop I took in, used the warranty, and got it to purchase my next laptop, which was extremely very, very useful. So I didn't really want to do that. Secondly, I could take it into the store I bought it from and then get them to ship it away and then use the warranty to replace it, and then it would come back and it wouldn't cost me anything. But it would take potentially up to a month where I didn't have my laptop to be able to live stream YouTube, do any of that. And the thought of losing my laptop for an undefined amount of time while a company replaced 2 keys on my keyboard killed me. That killed me more than the thought of losing the warranty. But I didn't want to lose the warranty either. So for a while there, I was just putting up with it. I was just playing. Any of you who were watching my live streams back then, many of you would remember how often I'd complain about, well, I just died, or that just happened because my key broke. And I was like a broken record for a long time there. It was really painful, and it was probably bad to watch as well. Eventually, at Christmas time, my partner and family had actually gone out of their way. They'd heard me complaining about it for so long. They looked into it and they found this device called the Razer Tartarus. I think it was version 2. It was this great device, and I actually might, I'll just pull it out. This is it here. This is the Razer Tartarus. It's basically it looks pretty, well, old and a bit unloved, but I've been using it for a long time. It was this great device. It plugged in by USB. It just goes straight in, and then this basically becomes a keyboard. So I have 19 buttons that effectively have nothing on them. They are default settings that you can apply to it. So in theory, usually key 8, key 12, key 13 and key 14 are WASD. And then you've got your E on 9, you've got your Q on 7 by default, things like that. And you can have up to, I think, 6 different profiles. So what you could do is, for some games, you could set, let's say, the 1 key to escape. If you, like in Dreadhunger, you press escape to close a lot of tabs that you open up. That's very useful, and I'd use that a lot. Other games, you would replace, let's say, the bottom row with, I don't know, access to your consumables, or whatever you needed to. Whatever game you were playing, you could pick them and make sure that you had it set up correctly. And that was so useful for me for so long. So this device honestly saved one of the most irritating issues I'd had for a long time, and this fixed it. It was hard to learn, and I actually got really quite good with this device. And now that I've gone away from it into my new setup and I've got a keyboard, it's really fucking hard to learn to use a keyboard. And this is around the time I actually started my YouTube career. I started going to TAFE, which, for any of you guys that don't know what TAFE is, it's basically, I believe it's a government-run education system, like higher education. It isn't university. It doesn't do bachelor degrees. It might have like 1 or 2, but it isn't known for its bachelor degrees. It does diploma stuff, and it's far more hands-on trades kind of stuff. But it had a film course that I could do for, I believe it was a year, and it was $150 to pay for the course. It was usually like $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, but they were running this setup thing during COVID to try and get more people in. $150 to do this course. I jumped on it to study film. Absolutely awesome. So much value from doing that course. And through conversations at TAFE, in honestly the first month of being there, I realized that my potential, at least in what I could do, wasn't just on Twitch. And honestly, I think I was doing the wrong thing for a long time just being on Twitch, because I'm a planner. I like to think through what I'm going to do. I like creating something awesome and then showing people. Trying to do things amazing live on the spot, just constantly getting people, trying to do awesome stuff. You'd get times where it would be awesome. There was a lot of downtime though where things weren't awesome. They were just good, maybe a bit lower than good, average. So going onto YouTube was probably a great idea for me. So I started making recorded content. I started learning how to record it through OBS. I started learning where that would go, how to save it, I started using the audio virtual cables properly, because before that it was just to save my Twitch stuff. Now I could use it for the video creation side of it, which has been very helpful. I would learn how to try and increase the quality of my videos without damaging, like doing too much strain on my computer, so I could try and push the high quality recording up. I started recording in 1080p, which is not something I could ever live stream at. I always live streamed at 720 because my computer simply couldn't handle it. I could handle recording at 1080. So that was interesting. I applied my video editing skills to make videos that I was very, very proud of, but the render times on my laptop were very, very high. To give you an idea, a 40-minute video would take at least 40 minutes to export and render into a video I could then post onto YouTube. So if I wanted to render a video through Premiere Pro, I would render it and then have my computer effectively unusable for that time because it's using so much RAM space to render and do all that stuff. Sometimes I would try to do other things and it would freeze my computer and I'd lose all my work. So that was unreliable at best. I learned to use Photoshop better than I'd ever done before, because I'd always ask my sister to do Photoshop jobs for me. If I ever did make a short YouTube video or I needed something for my intermission videos, things like that, graphics for my Twitch stream, she would do them all. I'd sometimes watch, but mainly I didn't. I learned to Photoshop. I spent a lot of time watching tutorials, guides. I'd get her to help me out with things. She'd come in and help talk me through stuff, which was awesome. Thank you again for that, Simone. And that helped a lot because I could make my thumbnails myself. I invested in artists to make chibi versions of the characters that I was making. I was playing. I got Dead by Daylight characters drawn. The biggest ones was I got Dreadhunger characters made. And that was one of the things that made my YouTube videos stand out, at least initially. People would see the video thumbnail, they would see the cute character, they would comment about how much they liked it. And I found that people were watching my videos. And I can't exactly explain why, but they were. And that was awesome. Last but not least, I downloaded Media Encoder, which was a program that would render my files for me. I could transfer a Premiere Pro file that I wanted to render to Media Encoder, who would then encode it, and it would free up Premiere Pro to be able to edit other videos, which I would then send to Media Encoder and keep that process going. So my computer wasn't unusable for 40 minutes during renders. And that allowed me to pump out more videos, more stuff back to back. And that was taught to me by my TAFE course. So that was all very relevant and very helpful. Anyway, finally, this all led to my decision to move to Tasmania, which, as many of you know, is where I am now. It's where my family home is, it's where all my family are, and my partner moved with me, which was a very big decision to move from Queensland. But this basically finalized my decision where I said, well, okay, I'm finally in a location that doesn't require me to travel. I can get a PC and reliably know I'm going to be able to use it all year. My other laptop still works, so if I do need to do stuff away from home, I can still use it for those reasons, but mainly I've got this opportunity for a proper setup. But before I could even think about getting my hands on this new PC, I needed to make the move from Queensland to Tasmania. To give you an idea, it was about a 25-hour drive from my state down, plus it also included a ferry ride, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong, it was an awesome journey, but it was a long way to go. But it also meant I couldn't transport as much as I would have liked down. So we had to sell a lot of stuff, and selling things allowed me to start saving up money alongside with the payments I was getting from Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, and start putting aside money, gaining money to work towards this PC I wanted. I thought it would take a really long time. We had a Twitch stream, which was awesome. We raised $800. My uncle, who has hoarded a lot of stuff for his entire life, suddenly realized that he didn't have to keep all this old stuff. And he said, well, if you're happy to sell this old stuff, you can keep the money and use it towards your PC, which was unbelievably generous of him. So we were able to sell some old stuff. We sold an old washing machine for, I don't know, $500, something like that. We sold an archery set for a couple of hundred. And my mum actually ended up getting herself banned off Marketplace because she listed a scope that goes on an archery bow, and it was considered a weapon. So she got banned off Marketplace. It was a whole thing. It was a whole journey. My mum was selling clothes like mad. My old clothes, some of her old clothes, my uncle's old clothes. She was just selling them, putting them up on Marketplace, Gumtree, anything to sell stuff and to try and raise money for what I wanted to be my dream PC. Obviously, I could have bought a PC for a couple of $1,000s, which was what I thought I would be doing. But when all this new potential income from selling old stuff became possible, I started dreaming a bit bigger. I started saying, well, instead of just getting a i7, I could get an i9. Instead of getting a GPU 360, I could potentially go to the 4s. Maybe I could push to a 470, maybe a 480. It was limited by what we were able to sell. And after about 2-3 months of mum selling stuff in Tasmania, me selling stuff in Brisbane, my uncle contributing stuff, and us selling all that stuff, we ended up raising quite a good amount of cash. It was all just cash we kept in this fucking drawer to go towards this PC. We raised money through Twitch and Patreon, and it all added up to be able to buy what is my dream PC. This thing runs mwah. I have literally no quarrels with how it runs. It is perfect. Now I've gone ahead and put together a helpful graphic to showcase my dream PC's specs, clearly laid out. Hopefully it's all easy enough to see. Let's talk through each of these, well, components. Inside we have a GPU of, it's an Nvidia GeForce 4080, which was better than I ever thought. This graphics card is unbelievable. I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface of what it's capable of, but my goodness. I'm running Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege at the highest quality with a constant 200 FPS, all while OBS is recording my gameplay in 1080p. Obviously, other components of my PC help with making that possible too, but the difference in quality between my old gameplay videos and my new gameplay videos is just insane. CPU obviously needed something beefy. I wanted a good quality CPU. After having i7 for so long, I said, nope, we're getting i9 in this machine for the best possible streaming experience. So that's exactly what we got. RAM. Now this one, originally I said 32 gigs. And then I thought, fuck it. I'd rather have too much RAM and never need it than not enough and have to go through the issues of trying to fix all that over and over and over again in what is supposed to be my dream PC. So we got 64 gigabytes in this machine. It's a Corsair Veng cards is what they are called. Very, very happy. SSD in this machine, 2 terabytes, double what I had in my laptop. So my SSD is going to allow to store a lot more games, but I didn't want to have the same issue of storing all my video files, which don't need to be on an SSD in an SSD. So I asked for a big hard drive and we got 10 terabytes of hard drive space on this machine. And that has already proved invaluable as I've already used up, I think 2 terabytes of storage space on that 10 terabyte hard drive, just from putting video files, transferring things from my external hard drives, things like that. All of that was extremely important to transfer for me. Having that space to confidently do it has been awesome. Motherboard, I'm not familiar with the different types of motherboard. I just said a motherboard that supports all this is awesome. It's a Gigabyte Z790 series, which has been very, very good. No problems with it at all. Obviously fans, they're Corsair fans with RGB lighting, and the case is a Corsair 4000D tempered glass case, which has been, well, it's kept everything intact. I got a bunch of USBs added to it, which, needless to say, as a streamer, you need those USB slots. I have currently got one unused Thunderbolt at the top, which I was going to use for putting an extra 4 normal USBs into, but I haven't needed it. So it's just sort of sitting there right now. I'm not sure what to run out of it yet. So if you have any ideas on what a streamer can use a Thunderbolt PC for, that might be something cool to work towards in the future, throw that in the comments. Very interested. I've also included the other smaller ticket components of my PC's specs towards the bottom of this graphic if you're interested. Parts like the CPU cooler, power supply unit, and RGB fans. Now, after gaming on a laptop screen for 5 years, I was very, very excited to upgrade to an actual gaming monitor. And it has been amazing playing on my new AOC 27G2 SE 27-inch gaming monitor. It has a refresh rate of 144 Hz, and it has been so easy on the eyes, not having to squint to see characters in the distance. My second monitor is the same Samsung 4K monitor I was using previously, and it is still great for keeping up with chat and having everything I need on that second monitor whilst live streaming. it isn't just my gaming PC that makes this setup my dream PC setup. It's all the extra stuff that's plugged in and working with it. And I think it's important I run through it. On screen now is a graphic that includes all the extras that my dream setup uses. First, this is the microphone that we're using. It is the Ember microphone made by Blue. Beautiful microphone. It's the one that's right here. It has been working for a long time. Very much recommend. I'm using the PSA 1 studio arm. This boom arm is really flexible. It's been fantastic. Highly recommend this PSA 1 studio arm by Rode Microphones, who I've never used before microphone wise, but I do know I've heard good things about them. Next up, I have a new headset. This was, of course, a big decision. What headset do I get? A part of me wanted to buy the exact same headset I already had because I wanted everything to be exactly the same. But then I thought, no, push yourself, get something different and learn to use it. And that's exactly what I've done with the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro Wireless. This has been a brilliant investment. Comfort-wise, I can wear it for long hours. It has a different feel to the other headset. It's definitely closed back, and I feel like my voice is louder than usual because I am talking louder. I'm not able to hear myself the way I used to be able to. And that has has a benefit, has a downside. Obviously, it means I'm louder for everyone else I live with. Bit of a pain. But it also means my voice, I feel like, is more commanding. It is clearer. I'm saying things with more precision, and that's really nice. This headset comes with this little bad boy at the bottom here. The beauty of this extra dongle, like this thing that's just sitting out, it controls the audio. I can simply drag and move this dial at the front, twist it, and it turns it up and down if I want to, or I can use the buttons on my headset here. And it has a little spot in this side of it where you can charge up a battery that is used in this headset. You pull back this here and it has a battery in it. It came with 2 batteries. So I have a battery charging, and the moment this one dies, I swap them over, put this one on charge that's dead, put the new one in, and I can keep doing what I was doing. But one of the things that this headset did really well was the software it came with, and I want to talk about that, but I'll talk about that in the next section. So we'll move on from it for now. Next, we're going to talk about my keyboard, which is this bad boy over here. It is the K100 Corsair RGB keyboard. Now, I have never bought a keyboard before, so I had no idea what I was looking for. Initially, I was looking for silent keyboards, but all the silent mechanical keyboards were either not being made or had poor reviews on YouTube, and I was really struggling to find one that I would be confident with buying. So I looked elsewhere, and I thought, what if I just buy one that isn't silent? And maybe my microphone won't pick it up, because my other device it didn't pick up, so I decided to buy this one. This has been fantastic. It's a Corsair keyboard, which works really well with the Corsair RGB fans that are a part of my PC. That was a pure coincidence. I don't think I knew what company that was going to be beforehand, but it's worked out nicely because I can sync up the RGB in my keyboard with the RGB on my computer. It looks quite nice when you walk past everything lining up and matching. So that's been really cool. So this keyboard has been exceptional for a couple of reasons. One, it has inbuilt media controls, which has helped a lot with playing music whilst live streaming. Next up, it has these G macro keys down the left-hand side. These macro keys are awesome because they can be reprogrammed to be basically anything. I can reprogram them to be an extra W key if I wanted to. I don't know why I'd want that, but I could. I can program them to open up a website, which I have them currently doing. If I want to open up my YouTube channel, I press my G5 button. If I want to open up my website, it's G6. My Twitch stream is G4, which are all things I need to press from time to time when I'm on my live stream or doing a video. So that's been very helpful. I can also press them to start or stop a recording, things like that, which can be quite painful to organize. I can also program them to do a million other things. I just haven't organized or worked out how to do that yet, or haven't had the inspiration for what I'm going to use them for. However, this keyboard has had a couple of, not downsides, just tough learning curves. As I've moved from that Tartarus mechanical thingy bobby before from Razer, and now I'm using a keyboard. The keys aren't in the same spot. Things are further apart. If I want to press the escape key, I have to reach a lot further. So I've reprogrammed it to a Dreadhunger profile. So I have a Dreadhunger profile where the keys are easier for me to get used to. Trying to push to talk so often in Dreadhunger has been really hard. So I've reprogrammed that onto my mouse. I've moved my item inventory buttons down to Alt into my mouse, things like that. Everything's been shuffling around, but it's very much a learning to walk scenario again before I can run. And that's taken a while. I already feel much better about it than I did earlier in the week, or even 2 weeks ago when I started doing this. So that's been interesting, very, very interesting. And I've really enjoyed the feel of this keyboard though. I feel comfortable using it. It came with extra keys to replace the WASD with the different textures so they're easy to find without looking at the keyboard. It's been a pleasure using this keyboard. I'm very, very happy. So awesome keyboard, would definitely recommend. Other extras I am still using are the Razer Death Adder Elite. Lovely little mouse, been awesome, no problems at all. I'm still using the Stream Deck, which I still have the box for, even though I bought it years ago. Use it just to transport it. Great little device, definitely recommend it. My mouse pad is the Rocat Ito Control. I've been using this for a few years now. I really like the feel of it. Obviously, I don't actually like the feel of it, like running my fingers over it, but it's been really good for my mouse. I wouldn't say I'm some massive Rocat fan, but I like what they've done with that mouse pad. I have a filler light which bounces off the wall and comes onto my face. That is very, very helpful, as if I didn't, this is what my videos would look like in terms of the warmth of the shot. It just hurts a lot more without it. It just doesn't look as nice. So I turn the light on, and just so you know, this isn't some streaming equipment light. It is literally a light that is just a light you buy that goes, it's like a bedside table light that we've used for years for those purposes. I brought it in here, bounced it off the wall, and it shines the light nicely onto my face. I think that makes the video look a lot nicer. So getting a light that'll improve the quality is obviously important. Still using that Logitech Brio right there. Very, very good camera. I've learned to turn that webcam into a 4K camera, which is why it looks so much nicer than when I was using it on my previous laptop. Ironically, I don't think my old laptop could have actually used this level of webcam without it chugging up some GPU usage. So there's that as well, but it's been wonderful using it. And lastly, but not least, I want to go over some of the software that I've been using in this new computer, the software that makes all this possible. I'm still using OBS, brilliant software. Really, really happy with how it works, and I know it inside out basically now. So very, very happy with OBS. I'm using IQ, it's ICUE, which is the Corsair software that allows you to play with your RGB lightings and things like that, which has been awesome. If I wanted to change this to, I don't know, I actually don't want to change it, but I could change it to red, and then my keyboard would turn red, but that isn't the case. So I'm just gonna put that back to where it was on purple. And it's just been fantastic. This is the profile stuff I've been talking about. I can change it from Dreadhunger profile to Plumoe's profile. So now I have it set to be rainbow when I'm just using it for regular games. And I have it set to be purple and yellow when I'm playing Dreadhunger. It's an easy visual aid for me to tell what profile I'm using without having to check. I've been using the SteelSeries GG software, which I will just pull up on screen as well. It has been fantastic. And this is the thing I want to talk about most in terms of software. This is the software that came with the Arctis Nova Pro wireless. I installed Sonar as a part of it, and this has opened up 5 inbuilt virtual cables that came with this headset. And by having these inbuilt virtual cables, I am able to select what virtual cable is used for each bit of information that is audio based, and I can set up everything I need in terms of keeping music off Twitch and all that stuff without having to download and do all the back end stuff I was doing through the YouTube tutorial. So this headset, for that reason alone, has been unbelievably worth it. I love this setup, and it has a bunch of already set up. I can set up to be Rainbow Six Siege. I can choose any of these other games so that the audio is based off it. There's a one for chat, which I'm assuming is just when you're talking to people. Media, I have it set to deep bass because I quite like the bass in music. Aux, I assume is for your mic, but not overly. Oh, actually, no, aux, I'm not sure what that's for. I think this would be set up for the microphone that's in my headset, but I don't use that. But anyway, this software has been awesome. There's a lot more to this software that I don't know how to use yet. There's obviously home, moments, engine, giveaway, settings. I don't understand the rest of it. I'm comfortable with what Sonar does, and I'm going to work my way through the rest of this program as we go, basically. Other software, I'm using the Stream Deck software, which has been awesome. When I open up the Stream Deck software, you can have a look over here. I have the choice between the Corsair G keys or the rest of the Stream Deck. It's inbuilt into the software to include Corsair G keys, so I can redo these so that when I click this button, it opens up my website, YouTube, record, pause, or just record in general. Things like that been quite good as of late. I actually think I need this is a start record one. I need a record end maybe, but anyway. So that's been really good. Spotify has been brilliant for playing music, which is obviously a big part of my streams. My best mood songs playlist is available. If you scroll below my Twitch stream to the About section, you'll be able to find one of the tabs being music or something. You click on that, it opens up a link to this page, or it might be my Twitch playlist. I'm not sure. Spotify's been great. It works with the inbuilt button on my keyboard. That's been awesome. Discord, fantastic. We love Discord. Steam, and obviously all the games, and obviously the Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Media Encoder programs from the Adobe Creative Cloud. So all of that software is currently what I'm using on my Dream PC. I'm sure there's far more I need to look into to download. So there you have it. That is my setups journey over the years leading up to my Dream PC. The difficult years, fighting for the extra 10 FPS just to get that stream watchable, to get my YouTube videos or anything I was making viewable and better for people watching. Finding those workarounds and doing everything I can just to make what I'm creating better has built up resilience, has built up my ability to see a problem and to say, well, that isn't how it has to be. Maybe there's a workaround. And that is something you need to have as a content creator. You need that resilience. You need, especially resilience in the form of thick skin, of encountering people who don't like you or decide they want to make your channel a target of their disdain, whatever it is. All that stuff. That resilience has come a long way because of the setup I had and knowing that whilst everything isn't perfect, it isn't going to be that way forever. And I'm going to work towards improving it one piece at a time. Now, it's important to note that as a creator, our creative brain, so to speak, thrives on finding a way to fix problems or to create amazing moments. And the moment you get comfortable, you get too comfortable with what you have, is the moment that you find your channel's ingenuity or just your channel's drive to improve starts dying off. And it's a big goal of mine to keep pushing my channel forward, keep making awesome new stuff. It's not enough that my videos are amazing quality. How can I make them that next step better? If you have suggestions for that, stuff you'd like to see, throw that in the comments. I'm very open to hearing about it. Doesn't mean I'll do it, but I'm very open to hearing about everything. And I want to encourage each and every one of you, especially you creators out there, to keep pushing yourself and start finding a way to do what you want to do, if not perfectly, in a way that still achieves the similar end result that you're going for, which is, of course, a better viewing experience. It needs to make sure you're doing it for the viewer, not for your own experience. You can still do it for your own stuff as well from time to time, but it's important to put that viewing experience first in order to continue succeeding. If you have any kind of crazy or wacky idea that you'd like me to try on Twitch or my YouTube channels, as I said, include it in the comment section or just tell me on Discord, whatever, throw that in there. I would love to hear all about it. I might give it a crack, or it might just even spark a different idea from that to make something amazing. Be proud of what you make, but accept that it might not be perfect, at least right away. Finally, I want to thank each and every one of you who supported me over the years, whether it was initially when I first started, if you're somehow watching this video, whether it's been in my Dead by Daylight years, whether it's been on my Just Chatting Daily Cuppa years, whether it's been on my Dread Hunger Twitch and YouTube stuff, or any other time in between. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything you've done to supporting my channel, especially those who have monetarily supported over the years. You've kept me afloat. You've kept me doing what I've been doing for so long. And honestly, nothing would be possible. None of the upgrades previously would have been possible. And certainly none of the upgrades in this PC would have been possible without each and every one of those bits of support adding up to being where we are today. From the bottom of my thrall heart, thank you. And that's just about it. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look under the hood, so to speak, of how my YouTube and Twitch channels even run. And I hope it's also shown you how little you really need to get started on Twitch and YouTube. Beyond like self-belief and, all that shindig. What gear you need and what is required for the bare bones minimum. And I hope it's given you an idea into the mindset you need to succeed on these platforms. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more videos just like this. Leave a like, leave a comment, all that stuff. Go by my Twitch stream, check out my Patreon, join my Discord, all of that. If you want to be a part of that community, my community, that would be awesome. Anyway, thank you all once again for watching. Good luck with all your endeavors. And remember to think just a little bit different.